Today, we're going to completely flip your understanding of how to wield your voice. Look, in a world that's constantly telling you to speak up, make some noise, and force people to hear you, we're going to teach you how to do the exact opposite. We're going to look at how to use silence as an absolute power move.
So I want you to ask yourself a question. Who actually holds the real power in the room? We've all been sold this myth, right? The idea that the loudest person in the room, the one completely dominating the conversation, is naturally the strongest. But just reconsider that for a second. Think about the people who truly command respect. They usually aren't the ones shouting.
Okay, let's dive into this by establishing what silence actually is. Because it is absolutely not a weakness. It's not an absence of thought, and it's definitely not an inability to speak. It's a calculated psychological tool. It is the ultimate psychological leverage, both for external control over others and internal discipline over yourself. All right, let's get into Section 1, Silence as Interpersonal Power, specifically controlling the room. There is a massive difference between giving your power away and keeping it. When tensions run high or someone challenges you, your immediate instinct is the reaction. You want to yell, argue, or over-explain yourself. But the second you do that, you're handing over your control. Instead, try the power move. You hold eye contact, you pause, and you just smile slightly. You literally let the other person sit in their own noise. Suddenly, they start to feel weak in their own head, and they begin to doubt their very own words. To really grasp how well this works, think back to when you were a kid. We all remember messing up, right? A yelling parent is loud, sure, but they're predictable. You know exactly what they're mad about. But what happens when a parent just gives you that completely silent, unblinking stare? It's terrifying. It freezes your body and your mind with pure anxiety. Your brain immediately goes into overdrive, filling that silence with every single thing you might have done wrong. That silent stare is so much more dangerous and powerful than any yelling scold. So how do we actually apply this? Well, here's a practical 4-step framework for using silence to uncover the truth. Step 1, simply say, "I know everything." Step 2, go completely silent. Do not add another word. Step 3, as you stay quiet, the other person's discomfort, fear, and guilt will absolutely rush in to fill that void. People hate silence. It makes them incredibly anxious. And finally, step 4, watch them confess. They're going to over-explain just to break the tension, and they'll hand you the truth on a silver platter. Moving right along to Section 2, the psychology of discomfort, silencing yourself. Now, what's really interesting here is pivoting from controlling others to the much harder task of controlling your own mind. Consider this. The moment you go silent, your plans become real. So many of us are lazy but incredibly ambitious, right? We wake up with great intentions, we imagine the life we want, and we talk endlessly about our big plans. But as long as you're just talking about them, telling your friends, posting on social media, they remain a safe fantasy. It's only when you finally shut your mouth and sit down to work that your plans actually enter reality. You see, you're constantly living in a state of conflict. Your brain is hardwired for survival, which means it sees quiet execution and facing discomfort as a massive threat. So to protect you, it pushes you toward noisy, short-term comfort, scrolling on your phone, chasing those cheap dopamine hits, endlessly talking about your goals. It feels great in the moment, for sure, but it is actively stealing your long-term power and happiness. That brings us to Section 3, silencing your inner excuses and killing the noise. To break this destructive cycle, you have to quiet the internal noise holding your ambitions hostage. And here is a massive realization. Perfectionism is really just fear disguised as excellence. You tell yourself you're waiting for the perfect moment to start or until you feel ready, but spoiler alert, perfect never comes. Your brain is simply making loud, sophisticated excuses to avoid the pain of failure. By never starting, sure, you ensure you never fail, but you also ensure you never succeed. You absolutely have to silence that perfectionist voice. A crucial part of this is ruthlessly silencing your physical environment. Look, willpower is a myth. Successful people don't magically have more willpower than you. They just have better distraction-free systems. You need to turn off notifications, physically put your phone in another room, and clean your workspace. You literally have to make it harder to be distracted than it is to focus. Because every distraction you remove is a decision you no longer have to make. And listen to this hard truth. You do not need more information. Stop learning and start executing. Watching endless videos, reading articles, and listening to productivity content feels like you're doing something. But honestly, it's just a noisy form of avoidance. You already know what you need to do. You've got to cut out that consumption noise today and start producing. Finally, we reach Section 4,
Quiet execution and discipline, building momentum. This is where we replace the loud noise of motivation with the unstoppable hum of discipline. Here's a real roadmap for breaking your cycle of laziness. Step 1, accept the discomfort. Your brain is going to fight you. Step 2, start ridiculously small. Don't try to change your whole life today. Just do 15 minutes of work. Step 3, remove all those distractions we just talked about. And step 4, execute silently. Just do it and then do it again tomorrow.
You have to understand the contrast here. Motivation is just a fleeting feeling. You're never going to magically wake up bursting with energy to do hard things. You just can't build a life on a feeling that comes and goes. Discipline, though, that is a structure. It's built by taking action in complete silence, one small, quiet decision at a time, especially on the days when every fiber of your being wants to quit. But here is your safety net in all of this. Action without self-compassion will not last. Progress is never a straight line. You're going to mess up, you'll fall back into old patterns, but when you do, you must silently forgive yourself. Lying in bed, loudly beating yourself up with guilt and shame, that only reinforces the cycle. Acknowledge the setback, forgive yourself quietly, and get back to work.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. Are you going to keep talking about your dreams, living in the noisy fantasy of what could be, or is it time to finally go silent, face the discomfort, and execute? Your real life begins the exact moment you stop talking. So I challenge you to close this explainer right now and take your very first silent step toward your goals. Thanks for hanging out with me, and I'll catch you in the next one.